Good evening, and welcome. Welcome, everybody, to another live stream. It's been a while since we've said that. I'm excited. It's good to be back. Apologies for the delay. Technology issues, as I guess it has been happening since the lockdowns in the period, when you get into like Zoom calls or Microsoft Teams calls and you have technology issues. We're not actually shooting off the camera that we were intending to be. This is just off the laptop camera now. This is off the webcam. So you'll have to let us know how it's going, what the quality is like. But we're here. That's the main thing. A big thank you, a big welcome to everyone who's tuning in and joining us. First live stream for 2023. It's been an exciting start to the year, to say the least, on the markets. Obviously, 2022 was relatively not disappointing, but there was negative sentiment throughout the markets. Those top-level indexes down by 20%. The growthier end of the markets down by 30% plus. And NASDAQ was where a lot of the pain was felt. But there's been some real positive edge to the start of this year, to say the least. It's going to be fascinating to see where things go from here. We had an RBA decision today, 25 basis points, nothing too surprising overall. Obviously, the Federal Reserve have got some upcoming decisions, but it's been interesting to see, I guess, the overall wording and sentiment towards the market. It does have a bit of a mojo back this year. The question is, are the animal spirits back too early? What's the back half of the year going to look like, and potentially the economy as well? Earnings season, by and large, hasn't been too bad. There's been some sectors that have been solid, some sectors that have been not so solid. Back end of last week, obviously, I'm sure many of you saw your Amazons, your Apples, your Googles all reporting. And there was some interesting trajectories for many of these tech names. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about. AI, ChatGPT, if you're not familiar with it, we can talk about that today. Obviously, we can talk about the commodities, just everything's been going on. It's a fascinating time. If you're not familiar with it yet, we've been, if you haven't seen it, we've been dropping daily pieces of news and content and talking about all things investing in the markets on Instagram now. We're officially live on Instagram. I've been sharing some of those pieces of content as well on LinkedIn, through the YouTube community too. But Instagram's going to be that main hub of where all the info is. I'll drop in a link if you haven't yet. So come say good day. And I've got some ideas about like short-term series. Maybe it's like collaborative discussions with people in a range of different fields and industries and sectors. Let me know if you're interested in that. That's going to be through the Insta. I'll just drop in a link to that. I think that's it. So yeah, Instagram kind of where all the info will be on the daily. If you want to chat there, come drop in the DMs and say good day. We've got plenty of upcoming videos. I've just secured an interesting interview. First CEO interview of the year. Wanted to make it a good one to kind of welcome back and bring it back. That's probably going to be sometime next week. It'll be a fascinating one, so stay tuned. You guys know what to do. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Turn your bell notifications on. Plenty of content. Before we dive into it, as you know, I'm just a bloke on the internet who likes talking about the markets. I'm obviously not a financial advisor. Nothing we discuss is financial advice. Stocks to talk about, they're not buy recommendations. Hopefully, however, it's an interesting starting spot for you to do your own research from. There's plenty going on. Plenty of people saying good day. I'm just thinking, is there anything else that we've missed in the welcome? So markets, we've talked about those. Talked about everything that's going on. ChatGPT, I think I mentioned that. The AI revolution is arriving. Google this morning, was it? Talked about Bard. So Bard's going to be their answer to that. Is it going to plug into their search engine or just other kind of consumer-facing apps? Who knows? We'll have to wait to see. But Bard will be coming out on the AI front. Earnings season is underway. We're in February now, which means we're going to start getting the half-yearly reports as well. Obviously, we had the quarterlies in January. So there's plenty to talk about on that front. I think in terms of the actual markets themselves, where we're currently sat, year-to-date, S&P 500, 7% up. Obviously, the growth end of the markets had a better uplift. I'm wondering, did anyone hear Kathy Wood say that she believes ARK-K is the new NASDAQ? I thought that was an interesting one. NASDAQ's up 14%. So Instagram, come say good day at that. It's just at ASX Investor IG. I think we talked about that. Oh yeah, where have we been? That was a thing that we had to talk about. So as you guys will know, at the back end of last year, the charity that I founded, We Are Mobilize, we had a really big fundraiser with an incredible individual called Ned Brockman. I've posted videos about it on the channel. So if you haven't seen those, you can check it out rather than me rehashing it all. But as I guess in a nutshell, an incredible bloke who wanted to make a real big difference for those experiencing homelessness across the nation, ran from Perth to Sydney, 4,000 plus kilometers in 47 days. Mind-blowing. He raised a heck of a lot of money for We Are Mobilize. So obviously, as founder and CEO, there's been a lot of work over the past, it's now nearly 6 months, 4 or 5 months, but a lot of work digesting kind of that big fundraise that we did, and obviously where the funds are going to go and how we're going to make the biggest tangible impact. So that's where I've been over the past period. We'll continue to obviously be focusing on that with this next chapter of the We Are Mobilize story. But I've been providing plenty of updates on that over on the socials. But yeah, that's where we've been. If you have noticed, there hasn't been as many videos as possible. That's what we've been doing. But we're still here. We're still around. Live streams, we'll try and drop those in because it's great. Actually, we've got to say good day to everyone. That was the thing that we forgot. Neil, evening. How you going? Nice to see you another stream. It's good to be back. First one for 2023. Triathlon training coming, mate. It's been good. I've been dropping in some of those brick sessions like you told me about. We're running the triathlon this Sunday. So we're T-minus 5 days away. So yeah, I've been posting daily updates on the Instagram stories, essentially just like where we're at. I think we started the training with 54 days to go. And now we're 5 days out. We definitely had no right to really try for it. We weren't very fit. Obviously, we went to the World Cup. There was a lot of fun had over there, which obviously we had to kind of recover from and train towards. But 54 days now. It's an Olympic distance triathlon. I know you've done plenty of them, Neil. I think we'll be all right. The swim's the one that we're questioning. But look, 1.5 kilometers, we'll give it a red hot crack. But we're feeling good. Hey, how you going, mate? Feel like the RBA is targeting the wrong group of people. Mortgage holders, generally working families. Yeah, this will be interesting to see, I guess, what happens. We're obviously getting much closer to a neutral rate. It's not quite restrictive, I guess, but we're definitely getting, it's no longer accommodative. That's fair to say. But the strain is being felt. I've got a few different group chats and inboxes and stuff with mates today. And a few different people were like, well, that's going to be, it's getting tighter and tighter and harder and harder. And I think that strain is going to be felt across the nation. It's not just the RBA. Obviously, we know the Fed is. It's central banks around the world. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting next 6 months to see. Obviously, we've talked about it for a year and a half now. The rates have been raised to curtail demand, but the risk and the fear is if you raise too much and too quickly, you can kind of risk that soft landing and obviously curtail demand too quickly. The brakes go on, and then it's difficult to restart from that. So we'll see, mate. Go Weebit. Kobe's meeting great yesterday. I've got to sit down and listen to that a lot further, but I read some of the comments and stuff. It seemed really positive on that front. Sean Hare, I think AKD 1000. Yeah, the 1500 would be is an interesting one as well. It'll be fascinating to see what the next kind of 10 months for the rest of 2023 has, because I think, that's what investors will be looking towards, commercial agreements and seeing those revenue streams come through. So we'll see how it's all going. Good to see ya. The live streams are back. Thanks, mate. Hope you're going well too. They're back. Welcome, Teddy. Trust everyone's doing well. Let's get it. Hello. 8:15. We're on. We are on. It was meant to be 8. But as I said, also, how's this camera quality, right? This is just coming out of my webcam on the laptop. This is an Apple MacBook. Is it all right? Because I've got the actual camera behind it. It's been so long. I was setting it up and it just wasn't working. It's almost like riding a bike, except it wasn't quite like riding a bike because it didn't go as smoothly as possible. But I think the camera quality is okay. Hopefully the audio's all right here. But yeah, that's been, hopefully it's working well. Hope to make the next Melbourne outreach. Actually, this is really interesting. So with We Are Mobilize, the charity, we've had a couple of viewers from the live streams come to some of the outreaches. I think one more made it yesterday on Sunday, actually. So for you guys on the ASX Investor community and family who've been making it to the We Are Mobilize outreaches, big thank you and welcome. And I've seen some of you guys popping up on the We Are Mobilize Instagram, following it along. So yeah, if you're not familiar with it, kind of that's what we're doing outside of it. But it's been great seeing the community growing on both sides. Based in Oz. I am. I'm in Melbourne. But yeah, in Melbourne. Whereabouts are you, mate? Lithium, please. It's been interesting, hasn't it? I think what's been really cool about the lithium sector has been those companies starting to come towards production. So obviously, you think about your companies like Argosy. I think they made all-time highs back in the last week from memory. A company like Sayona, they're putting out their production updates as well. They've got a Q1 2023 date to dance into production too. Plenty going on, obviously, on Pilbara's side as well. And it's going to be fascinating seeing those half-yearly revenue numbers from the companies. Ben, hey mate, how you going? Checked out IHL. I've read into the story. I haven't dove too deeply. How are you going, mate? Hope everything's well on your side. Pilbara. We did a video on Pilbara. I reckon it was like 4 weeks ago. It might have been before the New Year's, actually. But anyway, there is a deep dive into the Pilbara story not too long ago. So check it out on the channel if you haven't yet. Oh, that's it. Instagram. Yeah, come say g'day. The reason I'm pushing it so much is that's where I'm going to be dropping the daily content and the news, because we're not going to be able to make as many, obviously, daily videos like we used to back in the day. But I still love connecting with you guys, and people are sending the messages and, dropping in, saying g'day, commenting over there. So there's going to be daily content on the IG. So if you're on it there, come say g'day. We're also on Facebook too. It's just ASX Investor. You can come say g'day there. But Instagram's where I'm going to be the most active and where we can chat and we can connect. We posted stories, posting daily pieces of news. I'm like trying out Instagram Reels as well. It's an art form. You see like TikToks and Reels and you're like, it's 15 seconds. That must be easy to make. It is an art form. It sounds crazy to say, but I've been blown away by it. Obviously, we've made like 800 plus videos on the YouTube channel. It is so different just making 10, 15, 20-second bites on the Reels. But hey, you learn. It's a bit of fun. Dushan, how you going? Welcome back. It's good to be back, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Can we get gold, silver, and oil units through ComSec, if not any other platforms? I'm not you can't paint it with a broad brush. How you going, Mulik, as well? But for different types of commodities, and this is going to be different for each one, you're going to have to do your own looks and your own research. But some commodities have exposure through ETFs or different instruments, and some of those are traded through individual brokers, and some are not. So you're going to have to look, but obviously it's going to be through different types of instruments. Spotty, how you going? Good to see you back. It's good to be back. Hope you've had a good start to the new year as well. BC, would love you to speak on WBT. Hope you're going well, BC. It's recent developments. It's very fascinating. We dropped the video on it. I reckon this was like 2 weeks ago, and that covered mostly the summary of the story up until now. And I guess like in terms of why there's so much excitement around it, there's a few different things. Firstly, the technology has been validated. Secondly, TSMC, so Taiwan Semiconductor, have stated that they've got ReRAM inside the iPhone 14, I believe it is. And so essentially it's bringing ReRAM to the attention of the broader market that, hey, there's a new solution to flash, and it's in the here and now. It's not in 3 years or 5 years or 15 years, but it's here and now. And like there's companies that are actually using it, which means that other fabs are like, hold on, where else is ReRAM like available for commercial use, which I think is drawing a bit of attention to that. On the other side too, discussions about tier one fabs. Obviously, it had it outlined from the CEO of Weebit that it's looking like a quarter one, if they can get that over the line, which I think is getting a lot of eyes on it. And I guess incidentally, and it's funny because like not all AI stocks have kind of had that attention from it, but I think investors are starting to put a lot more focus back on the technology sector and more importantly, next generation technologies. I think Weebit's kind of had a bit of a focus from that front. Now, why has that happened? Obviously, you can talk valuations, you can talk about all of that, but I don't think it can be understated just how significant the impact of not just ChatGPT, but the digitization that will come as a result of that has been. And it's not only, oh, hey, ChatGPT is going to infiltrate every industry. I think we all know the narrative with that. If you haven't used ChatGPT yet, after this stream, go on, type ChatGPT, OpenAI, and you are going to have your mind absolutely blown. I dropped a video on ChatGPT last Sunday, I think it was. They gave you a summary of all of that. So if you haven't seen it yet, you can check that out. But I think people are starting to realize that, those optimistic futures of like technology and robots and all of that, it's not a 20-year thing anymore. It's like here and now. And so people are thinking about kind of what that could look like in the near term too. That's a summary of, I think, everything that has been there. But there's a video on Weebit last week. Hope you well, BC, though. I know you've had a good start to the new year. PLS. Will it make it to the ASX 300? But yeah, it's crazy. We've been talking about Weebit Nano for those who have been following the story since back into 2020. I think the first time we looked at Weebit on the channel, it was at like 70 cents. It's been a crazy ride. And yeah, it's been, I think what's really fascinating about it is it's starting to get more validation. The technology is there, and obviously they always had the base of the tech, and obviously they had the great team. But I think people are starting to, well, you can see, the volumes coming through that people are starting to be interested in it. Where it goes from here, how they execute the commercial agreements, that's the next step. But yeah, I think kind of it's pretty fascinating and not too far off commercialization now. So we'll see what the next stage of the journey looks like. See the stash in all its glory. There it is. Actually had a bit of like more of a proper beard, but was just going to trim it and trimmed it too much now. So it's all gone. So it's just the stash itself. So the hair's a bit here, there, everywhere. I jumped right out of the pool to get here as well. Cam's really good. Who needs another camera? This is just a webcam. Maybe I don't even need the camera anymore. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Welcome back. It's good to be back. Happy New Year to you, Aranya. Divvy this year. Yeah, I think they gave a capital update or a strategic update back into 2022. I can't remember, was it FY23 or in FY24, but they gave a strategic update about that. Let's Get It's been talking about PLS a lot. Maybe Let's Get It. Do you remember when it was, or anyone else who's been following the PLS story? QPM, yeah, it'll be interesting. I think they were one of the recipients of, was it the MMI government grant, or they were one of the recipients of government support in some way. Which loan it was or what mechanism it was, I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, we've started to see, I'm not sure if people have seen the news articles or the discussions about cobalt and the mining of it. Obviously, this has been a persistent thing. Don't get me wrong. This is not a 2-week, an 8-week, a 12-week thing. This has been a significant thing for a long period of time. But the greater awareness and focus on how cobalt's being mined out of DRC and the conditions that it's being mined out of is going to draw the need for more sustainably and ethically sourced cobalt around the world. Obviously, if QPM can get to production, they have the opportunity to be a beneficiary of that trend. Because I've started to see, I don't know about you guys, but like the last few weeks/months, I've seen, even, I can't remember if it was like Joe Rogan or something like that, just a few different like more mainstream pop culture discussions about all of it. So yeah, that was just kind of a note that I picked up on. Welcome back. It's good to be back, Vivek. How you going? Happy New Year. Matthew, great to see you back. I mean, I tell you what, I do as well. Heaps of people have been kind of dropping in the messages, being like, when are they back? When are they back? We're back. It's February now. Once we get into a proper regular cadence, I think it's feasible that we can get into some sort of a cadence where it's like a weekly one or something like that. I just want to work out what it is so that we can set it up and we can go throughout the year. I do have another idea, and I wanted to test this with you guys. I'm not 100% sure what it looks like, but maybe it's like live streams via Instagram or something like that, but it's not only talking about the markets. We'll do the markets live streams on the YouTube channel, obviously, but it's like talking about like different types of sectors, because I've got heaps of friends doing really cool stuff. And I think everyone does. And I've realized this over the summer break when I was like talking to people. I was like, everyone's doing really cool stuff. I kind of want to talk about just people doing fascinating stuff, whether it's in like science, or healthcare, or like the startup space, or founders, or, you know, in consulting or investment banking, and just like bringing the light on everyday stories of people just doing really, really cool things and raising awareness about that. I'm not sure if you guys are interested in that, but yeah, let me know, because that's something I've been thinking about. And then also, yeah, we'll come back to doing the streams. But the three weekly streams, it's crazy, you know. We went through, as a community, each and every one of us, we went through 800 and I don't know the exact count. I think it was 841 daily videos together. You guys kept coming back each and every day. So many of you guys are coming back 3 streams a week. The Saturday morning 10 a.m. streams, and then the Tuesday, Thursday ones. We did it. What a journey, guys. What a journey. And plenty more to come as well. Thoughts of CXO and European Lithium. EUR need to look further more into about everything that's been going on. But CXO, yeah, they are the latest Australian producer, which is, a big thing. There's not, and I think people are starting to realize that it's not that easy to bring not just lithium projects. Everyone knows that all projects are come online. If you think about the input from the funnel of companies that start with like a patch of land from exploration all the way through to production, it's very, very rare to make it all the way. But those that have made it, congratulations to those that have. For those who are jumping back, welcome. Housekeeping, what is it? We're back for the streams. Drop in a comment, say good day. Let us know how your New Year's been. Let us know if you've got any New Year's resolutions as well, or what you've been thinking about in life. I'm on Instagram now. Link is here. This is where you're going to get your daily content about news, investing, markets, just generally about the financial markets and all of that. Posting stories about life as well. So we can just chat about things outside of it, like what I do outside of it, work, sport, all this random stuff. It's ASX Investor IG. Markets have been soaring to start 2023. I think people have realized that. Big question, what happens from here? We had the RBA rate decision today, 25 bips or basis points. I was very impressed, actually. We did a poll on the stories today, and I think 85% of people predicted the 25 basis points. I wasn't sure if there'd be a few more split in towards 40 basis points, but the vast majority got 25 bips. So well done if you voted in that one. Who's back? Lake and Anson. You haven't been keeping up with the Anson story. Lake's, I think there was a further delay, which kind of, I think got that negative surrounding it. I haven't kept up with the Anson story as closely recently. Neil mentioned it there as well. There you go. I can't remember who discussed that earlier. Mulik, I think it was, who discussed it. Domenico, great to be live. Welcome. Happy Tuesday to you all. Federico, same to you. How you going? Welcome. Jolie, hope you're doing well. Going well, mate. How are you? Getting geared up for the triathlon. We are. So actually, when I ran my first marathon, actually, I think it was yeah, the first marathon, I had like my phone and I was like live streaming it. This was actually before the YouTube days. So, hey, we've actually been doing live streams for a while now, thinking about it. But it was like live streaming the first marathon that I did through my phone. And I was like, could we do that for the triathlon this Sunday? But I realized probably not, because there's going to be a swimming component. And I actually have a underwater swimming thing, but I think it's going to be enough of a struggle just getting to the finish of that. So there won't be live updates to it, but I'll give you a wrap up at the end of it, mate. I hope you're going well, though. BRM was $1 more than 12 months ago. Yeah, I remember that. It was actually, interestingly, it was literally just about 12 months ago, because I think that Mercedes agreement came out. For those who were remembering the channel, we were over in Fiji back then, and we had like that real thrown together video when the Mercedes announcement came out. So that would have been like around New Year's period from memory. Thoughts on what could move it? I think investors, and All Day mentioned it earlier up above. I think investors at this stage, the technology is there, it's commercially available, the right agreements are in place. I think investors are just waiting for the right, for deals to come through and consequently revenue. Obviously, it's a significant valuation that's valued at now without the revenues, and that's what investors are waiting for. So I think that's what it is. It's the commercial agreements at this stage. So a company like 40S, I looked into the tech of 40S early on when I was doing the Weebit/40S comparison. I haven't looked too much into it over the past 6 months since they had, I think, they had their initial, like, this is an issue, things aren't really working. I've dove into it then a lot, but then they've had a few kind of headwinds that they've worked into. I haven't looked too much into it since then. So I don't know what's changed. I don't know if they've resolved the issues. I don't know if the issues have got worse. So I can't really comment too much on that. Where's Lithium heading? Yeah, this is an interesting one. I think what we're seeing now is now. Yeah, that's the one. I think what we're seeing now is the split between, and there always is a divergence, but we're probably going to start to see a greater divergence on those in production and near-term production, and those maybe a bit further away. And the reason for that is we've had elevated prices for extended period of time, but obviously as more production comes online, that means more supply comes online. And so ultimately we know what will happen to price. So the producers in the current term and obviously near-term producers, they can get the exposure to that. Those longer away, it's uncertain about exactly where the prices will land. You only have to look at the divergence in terms of, forecasts from different sets of forecasters about where lithium will be in the medium term. And it's fascinating to see just the spread of it. I think most forecasters, even those of the most bearish, know have forecast that the supply shortfall is going to be there at the back end of the decade and beyond, because it's just going to be an insatiable demand. But in the short to medium term, that's where it gets interesting. PLL's a fascinating one. I haven't looked too much into PLL over the recent period about whether there's any government support on that front. We obviously know the Biden government, governments around the world more broadly, but the Biden government have been looking to support projects. I think it was Ioneer that got the first conditional loan. It was probably about 2 weeks ago now. ASX Ioneer, their Rhyolite Ridge project is I think it's in Nevada. But they got support from there. I'm not sure if PLL is in kind of line for that, or if they've had the support from the government, but interesting project. We know that the North American market needs lithium. Like that. It's just like every other market around the world, but the North American market is going to be one of the fastest adopting EV markets. So they're going to need, locally sourced lithium. So yeah, companies that can come online will be, having a good market to be able to feed into. Interesting news on AVZ lately. Yeah, there's a lot going on there, isn't it? I don't know how many months it's been now. It's probably got to be more than 6 months. Hey, there's a lot going on there. It's very, very complicated. I don't think anybody knows what the answers are. All you can do is just wait for updates and announcements and see kind of how that looks. So yeah, I don't think anyone really knows what that next stage looks like. So pumped for more live streams. Into lives are great too. I've been enjoying making videos again this year too, like slowing the pace down, spending a bit more time on the videos and kind of creating different types of videos. It's been a lot of fun. So yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. Glad to bring some joy to the start of the year. Absolutely untimed, mate. To give you the understanding about where we're at, I still haven't ridden on the bike. I've got a bike though, but I haven't ridden on the bike externally. I've obviously done bike rides inside in the gym. Running, I've got a pretty good idea of running because that's kind of the base cardio. Swimming, I have absolutely no idea because I've never really swum open water. I've swum 2 sets of 15s now in the pool, and it was hard yakka. But yeah, I have no idea what the open water is going to be like. So it's very, very broad there. Riding, it's just a big question mark, but I think we'll be all right because it's much more similar to the run. And then the run, yeah, we'll go in and around kind of that 45 minutes, hopefully. So yeah, I'm not sure, mate. I'll let you know on Sunday night. Probably very, very tired, but I will let you know there. Long time no see. We're back, Paulie. How you going? We're back. As mentioned, guys, if you're on Instagram, come and say good day and drop in the DMs and say hello, particularly for those long-term subscribers, because it's the best way that we can connect and chat over there without having the daily streams and live and the videos. It's instagram.com/ASX Investor IG. I'm on Facebook too there, but the focus is definitely on IG. But if you're on Facebook and you want the daily updates and you're not on Instagram, it's ASX Investor there too. Paulie divesting into the Canadian lithium space, BMT, CY5, CIX, tier 1 with the US. I saw, who was it? Patriot. I'm guessing it's PMT. Patriot Battery Metals. Yeah, they've got the former Pilbara boss there as well. No need for ships there. Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. There's plenty going on in that space, isn't there? Hey, Reem. Hey, how you going? Welcome. Joint project with Sayona. So they've got like a partnership for, I can't remember how many years off the top of my head, but they've got a partnership in the first few years. They're getting a pretty good deal on the price of the lithium as well, actually, because they signed it a few years ago. But they've got a partnership for a few years for the first of some of the lithium from Sayona's project. Could you comment on MFG? I haven't looked too much into MFG. I know they're actually one of the struggling performers in last 2022, but I'm not sure how they've gone this year. When Pilbara will announce about it, I'm fairly sure they already did an update on that. Let me have a look. I'm fairly sure off the top of my head they already did that. I think, oh yeah, here you go. So they will be paying an inaugural dividend in FY23. Is it FY23 or 2023? Anyway, the what I'm reading here, yeah, it was the establishment of a capital management framework. So just Google capital management framework, Pilbara Minerals, and you can have a read through there about the general story and when it's paying it. But from here, it looks like 2023. I don't think it's got a specific date there, though. Joe, good to be back. It's good to be back, mate. Welcome. Happy New Year. You reminded to do the AC. We actually did reach out back then, but yeah, I'll reach out again. We'll start getting back on the interviews soon now. So yeah, thanks for the reminder, Matab. Hope you're going well, mate. Still got the Sydney Swans photo there. Resignation, no explanation. Still have some. Oh, so I've still got some tech issues there. Oh, 6th of February. That's really, really recent, as in yesterday. What was, I guess, the general sentiment to the executive chairman? Was it positive? And yeah, why do you think that's happened? Or I guess no explanation. Is there speculation or no one sure? Little Green Farm. I saw the TGA approve the psychedelics and things like that, kind of out of left field last week. Hey, what do you think the main drivers of the uplift? Is that a sector-wide uplift that you're expecting to see, Hutcho? And why do you think Little Green Farm is kind of the most geared towards that? Another interest rate rise, 25 basis points. Better off making money. At this stage, it's been a where are we up to now? I think we're 3.35, are we? In Australia, and obviously US is above 4 now. So yeah, there's plenty going on in that space, and it doesn't look like it's the end of the rate rises either. SPX, yeah, I think investors at this stage are waiting for more, waiting for revenue to come through and just to see how that uplift goes in terms of the hockey sticking at this stage. So it was an interesting kind of announcements over the past period with Carpet Call, but yeah, haven't kind of looked too further into that recently. EOS for the long term. First open water swim in a race, you'll have massive amounts of yeah, I think so. And I'm also not a big fan of cold water at all. And obviously the race starts at what? It's like an 8 a.m., is it? So I think that's going to be a bit of an adjustment. I'm going to have to just suck it up and kind of get into the water before it, so we're not like shocked by it. But yeah, I can imagine when you've got 50 people around you, everyone's splashing about, waves coming through. That's very, very, very prudent advice, mate. And I will be happy to work our way into the race rather than getting blown out the first leg. It's Alex. G'day, mate. How you going? Congrats on Weebit so far. Onward and upward. Hey, thanks. Yeah, we talked about Weebit at the start of the stream, but we did a video on Weebit Nano as well last week. If you haven't seen it, obviously blowout start to the year. I think Weebit is, what is it? It's at 63% out to start the year. So yeah, obviously it's above the $5 mark. I think it was Aaron who mentioned it earlier that it was touch the $1 bill level. But yeah, it's been a big start to the year. We'll see how it goes. Neil, super excited. Olympic distance is unreal. I'm looking forward to it, mate. Looking forward to it. When's your half Ironman? Paul sent more commentary about the market being a hold-up pattern before a crash. Commodities always the last to run. Yeah, look, I think it's very, very difficult to say with any certainty exactly what the next 6 to 12 months has in store. There's a couple of contrasting schools of thought, right? Whereas one is like, all right, we're moving back to more of a fundamental based movements. Obviously, the last couple of years, year and a half, has been essentially Fed driven movements, or at least monetary policy driven movements. Like, positive rate rise or more dovish sentiment from the central banks. Yay, markets go up. Or, oh no, inflation blowout, back down we head. That's been mostly what we've seen. But now there's discussions about, are we going to start to see more of a fundamental based movement? And then on the other side of the coin, it's like, okay, at the moment, things are looking all right. Earnings season wasn't remarkably awful. There were some sectors that didn't go well, and some sectors that did go well. But then the question is, what happens towards the back end of the year, particularly as rate rises keep coming through, and do we start to see an earnings recession and things like that? We've got to wait to see. If anything, this start to the year has probably taken more people by surprise than I think. I think if you think back to even just November, December last year, people were like, 2023 is going to be a horrid year. It's not to say that, we're only 1 out of 12 months in. There's plenty of time for things to unravel. But I think this start to the year has probably taken people more by surprise than anticipated. Even thinking back to the Santa rally, everyone was like, no Santa rally, markets are dead. And as the quote goes, without being cliches, often the nights are darkest just before the dawn. But that's not to say as well that, this isn't a bull trap and things can go down lower, because, yeah, it's a fascinating one. IMU, interesting to see. Yeah, I think that's going to be fascinating just to see news progression with trials and updates on that front. So times for OpenPay holders. Didn't see the news on that front, Hacho. What happened there? That was a long time without water. I don't have my actual bottle. I've just got this bottle. I picked it up at the pool today, so it's not as exciting one. But thank you for the reminder, mate. It's been a lot of talking without the water. Hope everyone's well. Drop in, say g'day if you haven't said hello yet. Even if you have said g'day, drop in, say something else interesting. World Cup experience, incredible. I went to the World Cup in 2018 as well. Obviously, the Roos didn't get up there. This World Cup was some of the best experiences of my life. I'll remember them forever. That French game, that Tunisia game was just absolute magic. Obviously, Denmark as well. It was, really, really special. How about you, mate? How'd you find it? Go the Roos. There's been a lot happening on the A-League front, though, that's been very interesting over the past period. But, in terms of the actual World Cup itself, everything has been coming along nicely. Newix, after today's performance, how did Newix go? 44% up. Geez, that's a parabolic move upwards. I'm just looking at that chart now. On the 1 year, it's actually only down 13% now over the past 12 months. Interesting. I didn't see the news, Anton. What was the story that drove that up? Spotty, Mesoblast completes resubmission of BLA to the FDA. Investors still seem nervous. Should read the submission. Yeah, I'll have a read into that. Where's it sitting? $1.16. So just below the $1 billion market cap now. Half Iron was, that's right. Gearing up for the Sydney Mara. That's the one. Yeah, I remember that. Unfortunately, can't provide any recommendations on that front, mate. We're not here to provide any recommendations or, stock tips or anything like that. We just come together and have a chat about, discuss everything happening on the markets and, different insights that everyone's picking up. Let's get it. Banks probably interest rates. Talking, Irene responding to, let's get it there. Going to Europe again this year. Yeah, this is a fascinating one. So as we talked about at the top of the stream, well, as you guys know, we have still have our visas for the UK. We were going to move over there. We're in Europe, ready to move. And then obviously the campaign with Ned Brockman and We Are Mobilize blew everyone away across Australia, but everyone particularly internally at We Are Mobilize, it's a big, not just responsibility and obligation, but the opportunity to make a huge difference for the people that we've been working with and, to help out over the past 8 years. So we've made the decision to stay at least over the next year and to be able to help develop and build We Are Mobilize, founding the organization, seeing where it is now. We're very grateful with the chance to be able to really live out the dreams to make the biggest impact for our friends on the streets that we've been working for the next few years. So that's the focus for the next at least 12 months. Where things head from there, I'm not 100% sure. We're going to continue to work that out. But for the next 12 months, that'll be the focus. We've still got the visa. So we've got to work that out on that front. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? For those who are just tuning in, we're on the IG. It's at ASX Investor IG. If you're new on the channel as well, with these live streams, make sure you subscribe, turn your bell notifications on. Providing plenty of content over on the Instagram, daily news updates, providing plenty on Twitter as well. So Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. You get your daily contents and news snippets. It's also on the YouTube community tab, actually. So there's plenty there. But most of the content and discussions coming through on the Instagram, ASX Investor IG. What else did we forget? New videos coming out soon. We've got a CEO interview sometime next week. It'll be a good one. I reckon you guys will enjoy it. In fact, I'm positive many of you guys will enjoy it. New CEO interview next week. We've been talking about ChatGPT and OpenAI. We did a video on that last week on the channel. If you're not familiar with ChatGPT, you can check that video out. Did a video on Weebit, did a video on Pilbara, did a video on what to look for in the market. So there's plenty of those videos on the channel as well. It's been an interesting start to the year. What are the sector picks for 2023? Yeah, this is an interesting one. I'm keen to know everyone's thoughts on technology itself. Do people think this is just a bounce from the bottom, or do people think kind of there is real value in tech? Do I think there's going to be a lot more splits between tech? What is everyone's thoughts on that? In receivership, geez, I'm going to have a read into that. So I want to read into OpenPay and Nuix after people have mentioned that. 4-day fast last week, waterlogged. How'd you go, Teddy, and how did it make you feel after it? You happy with have done it? Thoughts on Square versus other BNPL, ASX? Yeah, I mean, Square is obviously a lot broader than BNPL. Obviously, it has Afterpay as a component on it, but it's not the only. Well, in fact, it's not even the main component of it. We haven't had as much exposure to Block in Australia as I've got friends over in the US. You know, Cash App and all of that, and we have those squares that people use as like the tap and go terminals in like small businesses, but we haven't had as much exposure in Australia as it. But Square, or I guess Block now, the size of its reach in the US is really, really massive. So obviously it's got Afterpay within it, but it's not only Afterpay. So I think it's difficult to go on a one-for-one comparison just because of the breadth of the offering that's under the Block banner. One of the lawsuits against Nuix finished in there. That'd do it. Yeah. As we know, markets hate uncertainty. That's one way to remove an uncertainty from that. Where does Pilbara export their materials to countries? Range of different areas. It's going to be fascinating as well once they bring online their downstream. Obviously, I've got a JV with POSCO as well for hydroxide. That's going to only, I guess, open up the potential end markets as well. But yeah, if you look at their, they've obviously got longer term contracts. But then they've got their BMX, their battery materials exchange auction, which is fascinating too, because that's got a range of different end users. Great to have live chat. It's great to be back, Shanti. How you going? Teddy was that after watching Limitless. This is from one of the founders. Interesting. Okay, that's very fascinating. Magnus, yeah, I mean, they've got kind of the first steps into production now over at IM3NY. I guess investors are probably looking towards the graphite opportunity as well over on that front with Natru. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the next period looks like. I'm fascinated to see the North American EV battery material supply chain, because obviously they've been a significant net importer, essentially almost exclusively, but not exclusively. But over the next, 3 to 5 years, they're going to be building out, and they're trying to build out those supply chains. So to be, watching to see who are the beneficiaries of that. On the Instagram at ASX Investor IG. Here, make sure you subscribe and turn your bell notifications on. Hit the like button. Next video will be a CEO interview next week on the channel. Watch your community tab, because I'll let you know when we're going to be doing live streams next. On the Instagram stories, we post about when we're doing live streams. Maybe we'll do one back into next week, maybe the week after. But yeah, we'll look to do some more live streams. It's been great to catch up, to see some read and see plenty of familiar faces, just to be able to chat, hear about how everyone's going on that front. Plenty more coming here. A big thank you for joining us, guys. Drop in the DMs and come say good day on the Instagram if you have come over from this stream. Check out what's the most interesting video we dropped. I reckon it's either the ChatGPT OpenAI video or the one about Weebit, but that's been coming through over the past few days. So yeah, on the channel, there's plenty for you to check out. Enjoy. Best of luck. We'll see what happens over the next few days, but it's been a good start to 2023. Most of all, hope you've been happy. Hope you've been smiling. Best wishes to yourself, your family, and everything you've been working on in life. It's going to be a great year ahead. We'll be talking about plenty of them on the markets, plenty of live streams up ahead. Great session. Absolute pleasure, Mark. Hope you're well. Thanks, legends. Stay tuned, guys. I'm looking forward to more live streams. It's brought the fire back in the heart, because it's been fun just chatting and riffing away and exploring everything. Thanks, guys. For now, stay well and happy investing.